it's Hannah and welcome back to another episode of the Corner of Craft podcast. Thank you for joining me. I've got the neons. I'm going with the neons. Even the makeup is quite zesty. Doodaloo. I thought I'd try to coordinate my makeup with my t-shirt. Minus the blue. I didn't put any blue on. That seems off. And then I thought, I haven't worn my voltage shawl all winter. Let's put it on. I haven't put it on all winter because it's a bit awkward to put on, but it's on. It looks a bit like a bib. I'm not very good at asymmetrical shawls. I never know what to do with them. It does remind me of that shawl video from Stephen West, where he's just like dumping shawls on himself. But yes, this is the Voltage shawl by Sue Strafford, and I'm going to try and make it look less like a bib. This was the bane of my life for quite a long time. So it would be a shame to not knit it. That's less bib-like, isn't it? That's a bit better. Anyway, hello, I'm Hannah. I'm a bit of a walking chaos, but in the most delightful way. I'm gonna stop fiddling with this, she says as she continues to fiddle with it. Welcome to the Corner of Craft podcast. This is a podcast about knitting, sometimes crochet, and my life en general. I'm Hannah, as I've already said. I'm coming at you today from a gloriously sunny Nottingham in the UK, England to be precise. And yeah. I can't remember how I normally do my intros. If you'd like to follow me on social media, you're more than welcome to. Links can all be found in the description box below, as well as a link to the Ravelry group, which is where you will find links to patterns of yarns I've used and yarns I've used. Links to patterns that I talk about and yarns I've used. Really good at English at the moment, can you tell? I haven't had a tea yet today, but I have one. So I'll wake up as I go. I am the owner of the Corner of Craft. It's a small tiny indie biz that I run by myself. I make tiny beaded stitch markers, and you will see some of them as we go, and I also dye yarn under the name Chromatic Yarns. All of the yarn that I dye is in colours inspired by Dungeons and Dragons, because I'm a huge nerd and I love it so much. But yes, the tea I'm drinking today out of my nice mug, it is Bird and Blend Salted Caramel Lebkuchen, because I have loads of it and so need to get through it a little bit. I finished up my first bag of it in this tea, and I have another full bag in the tea cupboard. One of the 2 tea cupboards that I have. Yeah, the goal of the year is try to get through some of my Bird and Blend I have. We'll see. It would help if I didn't keep buying it. But yes, it's really tasty, but it's a Christmas one, so soz. You probably can't get it now, but they might bring it out in July. They tend to do a Christmas in July sale where they bring out all the Christmas teas, which is always nice. And also, Shrove Tuesday's coming up on the 27th, I believe. Yes. Is that Tuesday? 25th. On the 25th, I believe, is Pancake Day, Shrove Tuesday, and they bring out a blueberry pancake. I shouldn't be telling you this, but they bring out an exclusive tea for Pancake Day, and you can only get it on Pancake Day. And it's blueberry pancake, and it's a caffeine-free redbush tea, and I tell you what, it's really tasty. We've still got a bag of it, so I don't know if I'll be trying to get it this year. We'll see. I've got it for the past 2 years, so maybe I should, just for, you know, continuity's sake. Because that makes so much sense. How have you all been doing? It's been a fortnight, hasn't it? A lot's happened since I last spoke to you. Today is the 6th, so that means the last time I spoke to you was the 23rd of January. A lot's happened well, not so much in my life, but in the life of the country I'm living in at the moment. Brexit happened, so the less said about that, the better. Now we're in a weird limbo stage for the next year. For those of you who like my wares, I'm saying it, I'm sticking with it. For those of you who like my wares, and I don't mean in a that kind of way, who live within the EU and are now concerned about customs and such. You're all good. You're all good until December. Nobody knows what's happening, so they're coming up with various trade deals and such. Yeah, so we're out, but until December nothing really changes yet, at least in regards to postage. So you're all good. Everything's the same. You're fine. By the end of the year we'll have a slightly different conversation. I'll have a slightly different outlook. I'll probably know a bit more, and I'll probably be much more stressed. So love Brexit. Tell you what I'm most excited for about Brexit. I'm most excited for all of the people who told people who wanted to stay in the EU that we were being dramatic and that everything would be fine. I'm excited for them to be proved right and for me to be proved wrong, because it's one time in my life I really want to be proven wrong. I very rarely do. I want to be right in every single situation, but Brexit is one where I really want to be proven wrong, because I did not want to leave. I am a Remainer. And I apologise if that's upset some of you, but everyone has their own, you know, reasons for thinking what they do. Right, that's it. Brexit chat done. I'm a bit sad because my tea is perfect drinking temperature. And by the time I finish talking at all of you, it's not going to be the perfect drinking temperature anymore. Delicious. Super tasty, and my lipstick's all coming off. Good times. I love this, love wearing lipstick. So I have not a whole lot of projects. If you haven't watched before, I kind of go through stages of knitting. Sometimes I knit loads, sometimes I don't knit loads, sometimes I have loads of projects on the go at once and I make a small amount of progress on each. Sometimes I don't have loads of projects on the go and I'm a bit, not monotonous, that's not the word. I mean, I can be a bit monotonous. I think it's kind of like the pitch of my voice. Sometimes it can just be a bit flat. Anyway, monogamous is the word I wanted with my projects. And I have been not knitting as much the past fortnight, and you will see why. But I have been quite monogamous with the projects that I have knit. So I've got one definitely finished object, one almost finished object. I'll start with the almost finished object. It is my Brookline hat. I love this hat. I say it's kind of finished because I haven't blocked it yet and I still need to make my little purple pom-pom. I need to decide if I want to make my little purple pom-pom or if I want to get a furry pom-pom. But it needs some kind of pom because it's got a bit of slouch to it, and without something weighing it down, I feel like it would look a bit weird. So this is the Brookline hat. It also blocking might make it chill out a bit. This is a pattern by Rachel Coopy of Coop Knits that she designed for, I don't know if she designed it for Baramu, but I think so. It's knit out of Baramu Pip colour work, I believe. I've got 4 colours of it. One of the charcoal grey is coal, the white is white rose, and then I think this might be Lotherton. That could also be the purple. I can't remember. I don't have them up here. But yes, it is an entirely colourwork hat, except for the top where you're striping it and the bottom. So it's not entirely colourwork. I'm really good at explaining things. It is a colourwork hat though, and the first little bit took me a while to knit, and then I got into the rhythm of holding 2 strands of yarn and got like a groove going and got pretty speedy, and then whipped this off the needles a couple of days after I finished filming the podcast last week, which is pretty incredible. But yeah, I need to seek out my pom-pom maker because it's somewhere in my mess of a craft room. I almost swore. I tried my best not to. Sometimes the urge takes me and I have to. Sometimes I do apologise. Sometimes I'm able to control myself. But yes, it's really fun. I knit the medium size because I was between sizes. I'm really glad I did knit the medium size because this actually fits me really well. Pre-blocking, because apparently my head isn't as big as I thought it was, but it's a pretty cute hat, I'm not gonna lie. Kind of want to make one out of some of the other wool that I have. I have wool that I can make a 2-colour one if I wanted to, for example. And yes, I'm interested to see. This is a non-superwash wool, so it is a bit more rustic. It's more like the traditional kind of like colour work wool. I don't know. I'm not really big into colour. Well, that's not true. I really like colour work. I'm just not very knowledgeable about it. Let's be frank. Even though my name is Hannah. And yes. Yeah, so it's a bit more rustic. It's not for those who are of sensitive skin. I was going to say sensitive disposition, that's different entirely. But yes, we have a hat. It is complete, almost. It needs a pom-pom. I might block it after I finish filming today. Get it in the sink, and yeah. Because I need to do the thing so it doesn't block flat. It says to block it over a balloon or something, but I don't have balloons. And you know, as someone who's trying to cut down on single-use plastics, blowing up a balloon to block a hat seems wasteful. I'm surprised hat blockers aren't like a regular thing, but I suppose they can't be because everyone's got different sized heads, so that wouldn't really work. So yeah, smooth. What I did when I blocked my friend's hat over Vlogmas, I used the Very Pink Knits technique. I look like I'm about to go out on a nice brisk winter's walk, don't I, all bundled up. Is you block the hat and then every so often you go up and you like spin it around your fist. It makes sense. And yeah, that stops it getting a seam in it, a fold. Because if you block a round thing when it's flat, you get a fold in it. Hello. But yes, itchy face. I love this hat. I think it's a great hat. I want to own 20 of the hats. Maybe not 20, but more would be nice. But yes, it needs a block. Brooklyn hat. I followed the pattern. Because I'm not one of these people. I have like hair on my face or something. There are people in this world who are very, very skilled and see a pattern as more of a basic outline and then just go off and do their own thing. Whereas I don't have the skill. I don't know. I think if someone had a gun to my head and said, hey, knit a jumper, no, I wouldn't be able to. That's a flat out lie. I was like, maybe I could work it out. That's a lie. I wouldn't be able to. That would be depressing. Maybe I could. Maybe somewhere in the depths of my brain as I was panicking. Anyway, let's get out of that horrible hostage scenario of a cold gunman. Yeah, there are some people that look at a pattern at a basic outline and can then adapt it to be what they want it to be. Whereas I look at a pattern and I have to follow it because I'm not very good at going off piste. Basically, I'm not a very free form person. I'm very good at like, this is what I'm doing, this is what I have to do, and that's okay because there's room for both types of people in the world. I can't remember where I was going with that when I started. I said I followed the pattern. So my second finished thing you won't have seen at all unless you follow me on Instagram. I have had this pattern not that long. That's not true. I bought it before Christmas and it's now November. February. Come on, get a grip. Because when I started to watch knitting podcasts was when I was in Frankfurt, living in Germany. I lived in Germany for 2 years, for those that don't know. And I started to watch Kristen of the Willenwein podcast. And the reason I started to watch her is because I had made a really cute unicorn pin, which I think I still have. Maybe I sold it. I can't remember. I bead wove a really cute unicorn pin, and one of my friends who I went to knit group in Frankfurt with commented on the picture and said, hey, you might be able to enter this into Willenwein's unicorn along. because it might be a make along as opposed to a cow. It was a cow, I couldn't enter, but I started to watch her anyway. And then they started the unicorn cow because they wanted to make Nilla the unicorn, and I thought, you know what, that's the cutest darn pattern I'd ever did see. So I made myself Nilla the unicorn. It's so cute. This knit up so quickly, I can't even fathom. So let's just get a close up. Come on, don't focus on my face, focus on the unicorn. Floop. I thought the mane and the tail would kill me, but it actually wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And she can sit down. I did her tail a little low down. It seems to be a trend I have. I've crocheted a unicorn before. I crocheted a unicorn to enter the unicorn cow, and kind of really placed the tail so it was essentially coming right out of its bum. It was just in the wrong place. And this one, I'm not gonna lie, it's a little low down, but I tried. I definitely want to make more of these. He's so cute. So I knit this much smaller than the pattern calls for. The pattern calls for worsted weight yarn and a 4mm needle. I knit this out of leftover sock yarn, and this was this is Chromatic Yarns of my merino sock in the DM's Wife colourway, which was my wedding colours, and it's just a beautiful colour. It was variegated obviously because I'm not very good at solids, but I try. And then Zone of Truth for nose and hands and feet, and this is left over from the Studio 56 shawl I knit, and some of the pink went in the hair as well, the mane. I used a 2.5mm needle and 6mm eyes. The horn is her name is Roxy. What is her business? Oh, come on. Lollipop Guild Yarns. And this is in the Goldie, I believe it's the Goldie Horn colourway. Oh my god, that's amazing. If it is the Goldie Horn colourway. As in H-A-U-N, as in the person, but it's also a golden horn. That's fantastic. And that's left over from my Bendy Arrows shawl. I also haven't worn much. Asymmetrical shawls, I don't touch them. I knit them, I really enjoy knitting them, and then I don't touch them. It's a problem, I need to learn how to wear them. And then the mint green is left over from my TPCT, the Perfect Crop Top, and it's Martin Slab Comfy Merino, which is 100% merino, in mint, and it's beautifully speckled. And I kind of was hoping I would use all chromatic yarns to make it, and then I couldn't because this went so well with it. I've already decided I'm making more. I really want to make like a goth unicorn and put little jump rings in the ears as multiple earrings and have like a punk rock unicorn, and I think that would be the coolest thing ever. I have issues. This little fella knit up so quickly, I can't even believe. It's not knit flat, it's knit in the round. You start off at the head, you start here and you go back, and it's all knit in the round, and then you do the ears and the horn and you sew that all together, and so you've just got a little head, which is really cute. And then you knit the body, which is all in the round. Mine, I don't know if this is just where the increases end up going, but I've got like a seam of increases that aren't quite in the middle, and so it kind of goes down here, but whatever. It's either that or I should have done a different increase. Maybe next time I'll do it, look up and try and find an invisible increase, but I don't think there is one. And then you sew the head on, and then you knit each limb and sew that on. I stuffed it, the body I stuffed pretty well. The head I did like a medium amount of stuffing. The arms I left very lightly stuffed. And because it's all knit in the round, you kind of don't have to worry about sewing any ends in properly, and I just kind of did what I used to do when I used to do a lot of crochet amigurumi and just sew it back through every now and then. This is just going to be living in my craft room. I'm not going to be giving it to a small child. therefore I'm not worried about it falling apart or anything. But it is super cute, and I definitely want to make more of these. Because look at it. I don't know how much yarn it used, but it didn't use an awful lot. I'm now sad that I got rid of a fair few of my leftovers around Christmas time in mini skeins, because some of them would have been really cute unicorns. But yes, I used 6mm eyes, which are the perfect size, and I had bought them. I'd bought them when I thought I was going to make a menagerie of Toft crochet things, but I haven't yet. But it's so cute. And just to make it even cuter, I made a tiny bow for her ear. It is removable if I want to have it not be there anymore, because you know, I get stressed out putting stickers on notebooks, or putting stickers anyway, because what if I want to put them somewhere else? So it is a removable thing. But I just crocheted, I think 16, maybe 15 round. I joined it in the round and then just went round and round and round. Just UK double crochet, US single crochet for I think 4 rows, and then just wrapped the end around the middle and sewed it back through just to make the middle of the bow. And then I can't remember how much I chained to make it fit on the ear. But yeah, I just chained an amount so it would go around the ear. It was more than I thought I'd need. I remember that much. But yeah, super cute. I now desperately want to make more. I'm going to be raiding my leftovers. This could be a cute unicorn. This could be a cute unicorn. Oh my goodness, there are so... Potential goth unicorn. So many options. So many options. Ooh! I just found a pom-pom. Now I need to knit a hat with grey in it so I can have it as a pom-pom. But yeah, I want to have a small herd of knitted unicorns, and I don't know how this is going to benefit me anyway in life, but it just makes me really happy. She's really cute. Anyway, that's it. 2 finished objects, and I'm over 20 minutes into the video. Wow. I'm not going to apologise for talking too much. I realise that that is the thing that I do, and I'm going to stop apologising for talking too much, because I figured if you don't like the fact I talk too much, you wouldn't be watching the podcast in the first place. I work by myself at home. Mario gets home at, I don't know, 3-ish. Today he'll get home later. But so I don't get an awful lot of human interaction day to day. The only people I tend to see during the week is if we have Dungeons and Dragons, and also that's not really chit chat, that's us playing Dungeons and Dragons. Super serious business. And sometimes I meet up with friends during the week, but not very often because everyone's got a job. And the post office, but I don't really have hardcore chats with Nathan either, who works at the post office. So yeah, you are my conversation every other week, and sometimes I have a lot to say. So strap in. Right, shall we get a wiggle on and move on to works in progress, shall we? So my first work in progress you have already seen. I haven't made an awful lot of progress on it. It is living in my Fringe Field supply bag, which I've donned with a crap ton of cute badges and a little Pikachu over here having doing his thing. I go through phases of what bags I use. This is one I haven't used in a really long time. So I thought, why not use it? So I am making the Home Is With You shawl. I moved the stitch mark, I moved to the progress keeper so I could keep track on how much progress I'd made in a fortnight. That much. I'm sorry, I've been knitting this little gal. I couldn't put her down. I knit her in like 4 days, it was amazing. Such, maybe not 4 days, maybe 3. Such quick knit. If I had sat down in the morning and knit her all day, I definitely could have finished her. 100p. super cute. Need to make more. So this is the Home is With You shawl. This is a pattern by Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady podcast. And yeah, I am knitting this out of Art Equals Happy yarn, which is recycled yarn. I go into depth about what recycled yarn is in my last episode, but I will briefly cover it here. This is yarn exclusive to Alternate Universe, which is a beautiful yarn shop in Bristol. Highly recommend giving it a visit. Kim, the owner, is such a wonderful person. Her and her partner also play Dungeons and Dragons and therefore are the coolest people in the world. They play Dungeons and Dragons to the point of they have a 3D printer and they make tiny 3D printed things. And I tell you what, that's amazing. So recycled yarn is yarn that is either from the Kim rescues from charity shops, or from people's lofts, or people donate them to her, or whatever. And it tends to be cones of yarn that was designed to be used for machine knitting, that's just been like sat somewhere and maybe a bit dusty, it might be a bit moth-eaten, might be a bit gross. And she takes it, she cleans it up, she gets rid of the outer layers that are maybe and puts together various strands in various beautifully coordinated colours to make stunning mild yarn, and it gives it a new lease of life. So you can get it in various thicknesses. And yes, I've told her she needs to sell it online, but I imagine it's really tough because you can't have consistency, because it's just yarn that she's given. It's only the yarn that she's got at the time to make up the colours. It's not like she can go back and buy another skein of pink, the exact same shade, you know, it's not as repeatable as, for example, dyed yarn. So Art Equals Happy, beautiful yarn, absolutely stunning. I'm using the sock yarn, which I'm using two colours. One is Sculpted from Clay, which is this beautiful pale bluish grey colour, quite frosty. And then I'm also using this colour, which I believe is Steve Trevor. These are apparently both Wonder Woman references. As you can tell, I'm very knowledgeable about Wonder Woman. I've seen the film, but still, sometimes I live in a bubble on my own. I was probably concentrating on the sock I was knitting on. But yes, this is just a beautiful mild black with grey. I thought they'd go really nicely together. And I'd bought them intended to make this shawl. So I'm actually achieving what I set out to achieve. I'm on the eyelet section. I've done the last eyelets of the eyelet section. I just need to knit a few more rows back and forth before I switch to the darker colour again. I'll tell you what, I will have it done by next week. I will, I promise. Maybe I'll try and get some done this evening, she says, even though she's already planned to do some bit more bead weaving for Saturday's update. We'll see. I have one of the Corner of Craft, one of my own. I don't have painted nails, I apologise. I took it off yesterday and then was dyeing yarn and I didn't want to paint my nails to then smudge it but I've just put a clear on for now and I'll probably paint them this evening. Yes, it's Tiny Beaded Chick. I really want to bring these to the shop again. Maybe I will soon because I love them. I think they are so cute. I'm 100p biased. So biased, but they're so cute. And yeah, so I haven't made an awful lot of progress on this because I knit the hat and then I knit the unicorn and then I've been bead weaving my little dry gross hands off, and I cast on something else. I am using Higher Sharps. They are the only needles that I use, not for any reason other than I didn't really want to spend a lot of money on various needles, finding which ones I liked, and heard a lot of recommendations of Higher Sharps, so those were the ones that I bought. Essentially, this is 4mm needles. I'm using 4mm needles for this bad boy, and yeah, I'm over halfway. It's just the rows get longer and longer and longer. But yeah, I'll have it done for next week, guaranteed. By next week I mean next podcast, which is a fortnight. I hope I bloody get it done by then. It's already been on, I already feel like it's been on the needles for too long. and I need to cast some other stuff on. I want to do a bit more brioche. I have made the All About That brioche shawl. It's one of the first podcasts I recorded, I believe, out of some of the first indie dyed yarn I've ever bought. And when I went to Kreativfeld, I bought it from Das Monschaft. And yeah, I want to make another one because I wear that shawl a lot still. And then my mum knit one for me as a shop sample, and I told her to use a different needle size for the pattern because mum doesn't swatch. I don't swatch. I should swatch. And yeah, so my shawl's much smaller than the one that she knit, so I might use a larger needle size. And I've got these two skeins from my BFFs. I'm saying they're my BFFs. I don't know if they know they're my BFFs. I mean, I'm staying with them when I go to Rhinebeck, so they've got to tolerate me somewhat. But this is Dragonhood Yarn and Yarn Cafe Creations. Together they are Girls in the Yarn Cafe podcast. And this is Come Alive, which I'm imagining is from The Greatest Showman. And this is Gothic. And they were so kind as to gift this to me when I saw them last year at Edinburgh Yarn Festival, because they're the best. And they claim they hadn't planned it, but they go so well together, and they kind of have to be used together. So I think this is going to be All About That brioche shawl, just because I think they'd go really well together. It's either that or I get some of my other purples out and I make a vertices unite, but we'll see. I think All About That brioche would be better, and I'd wear it because it's a good shape for me. But yeah, they claim they didn't discuss it so that it went, but I think it's more that they both actually know my colour palette quite well, and this is my colour palette. Oh, but also that could go there. It's the same base. I think it's the same base, 8515, and this is 8515. But if I want it as a sample, it could go in the middle. But if I want it as a sample, I can't use someone else's yarn in it. Poops. Poop-de poops. So yeah, I think I need to cast on All About That brioche shawl. So my final work in progress is living in the little grey girl, I apologise, Gemma, I apologise. The little grey girl project bag, my wizard sleeve bag, if you will. I bought this at Edinburgh Yarn Festival last year as well, and I loved how much this matched this. I thought it was amazing. But yes, Edinburgh Yarn Festival bag. Nope. Little grey girl bag. I think this is maybe one of my most used bags. My wedding shawl lived in it for quite a spell, so it's absolutely covered in mohair, so I need to get like a lint roller or something on it just to get all that fluff off of it, she says, looking inside the project bag and seeing this in it. That's why I think I chose this bag subconsciously. So I cast on an everyday slouch beanie, which coincidentally is a pattern by Tristan of Dragonhood Yarn. And this wasn't intentional. I wasn't meaning to talk about them and then talk about this, but happy coincidence. So this is Tabaxi on my Tweedy 4-ply base, of which I have a lot of the bare yarn because I never seem to dye it. So maybe next shop update, not Saturdays, but next time, so that's the 22nd, maybe I'll go ham on the tweed and get some of it used because it's just taking up space and I feel a bit bad. But yeah, it's on my Tweedy 4-ply base and it's Tabaxi and it's just a beautiful golden colour. But because the tweed base is naturally a bit grey, it's kind of a bit grungier than it is when it's dyed up on other bases, which is quite cool. But when I went to Buxton Wool Gathering in May last year, I believe, I bought this skein of yarn from Wriggle Fingers, and it's Imp, I believe is the colourway, Imp. And I bought it to go with this to make one of these. Look at me being intentional and stuff. This is 72% kid mohair, 28% mulberry silk, 420 meters per 50G. And this is, I'm guessing, 50G. It was super cheap for mohair. It was only £15. so why not, I guess. So yes, I did my first ever crochet provisional cast on, and I did it differently to, and then after I did it I realised I did it differently to how the link that in the everyday slouchy beanie pattern, Tristan gives a link to a video tutorial of how to do a crochet provisional cast on, and I thought, oh yeah, that's fine, I'll just, because I was on my phone and I couldn't click through, instead of copying and pasting like a normal person, I thought, oh, I'll just Google it, I'll just YouTube it and find one of those, and was like, Very Pink Knits, I trust her, and followed hers instead. But I'm pretty sure it's still going to work, because you do I'm now just going to be itching my nose for the whole thing. So you do a provisional cast on. Tristan says to do the provisional cast on with the both of the yarns held together, but I thought it would be better to do it with a contrasting yarn. I could also be wrong. This is my first ever provisional cast on. And then you knit for X amount of length and then do a double brim for super warmth. I'm knitting the largest size because I've got a giant head. I'm using 2.25mm needles as per the pattern's suggestion, but I've only got that as sock needles, so I'm magic looping it. I'm hoping that it's not going to be too big. I don't think it should be too big. But yes, you knit for a certain amount of time, then you do a purl row, and then you knit the same amount of time again. And I guess the purl row makes the fold easier. And then the bit that I'm concerned about with my provisional cast on, what with it being my first and all, is how do you pick the stitches up? I don't fully understand how you pick up the stitches. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah, I just used some, it was left over from the unicorn. It was sat there and I was like, sure. So I did it slightly differently to how I think Tristan intended. But we're doing it. It was quite funny the other day. I was sat in one of my Hufflepuff jumpers with my mustard sleeves. It's like light grey with mustard sleeves. Mario had the hat that I knit him for Christmas, which is a mustard colour. And then I was knitting this. I was like, oh, look at us, a little golden family. He was not impressed. He was just like, yeah. Oh, thanks, Mario. I really appreciate that. But yes. Boop. Oh, I have a tiny owl keeping me company because everyone needs a tiny owl. He will become my end of round marker once I have done the brim and I'm moving on to the next needle size. But I just really like how the more golden colour is just making this, you know, shine, and then you get little pops of tweediness in it. It's just quite cute. Just quite nice. But yes, I've had a few people, when I said I was casting on, I've had a few people be like, oh, I can't get through the brim because it's so long. Okay, I will endeavour to do it for us. Oh, and I forgot to say, I've got my tiny little bumblebee that I bought at the Walmonty last year. Holly, I believe it was Holly Heartfelt. Heartfelt. I don't know if it's like, I don't know where the stress goes. But yeah, she was in the stall behind me, and I just had to buy a little bumblebee to go on my bag. But yeah, that's it. Those are my whips. That is what I'm currently working on. I've achieved nothing else. My tea is cold. I'm going to be talking about shop update next. Shop update is on Saturday the 8th of February at 4 PM GMT. That is London time. It is both a yarn and stitch marker update. Issue being, I can't show you the yarn right now because I dyed it yesterday and therefore it's not quite dry because I'm the best in the world. I'm not very professional. I've been listening to the Indie Roller podcast, which is a podcast basically for people who are running small independent businesses. And I've been listening to her, and yesterday she said about how the phrase professional is kind of bollyollocks. So there's no right way of doing things. I was like, yeah, that's fair. But I've got lots of fab colourways. Let's have a look out the door and see. I had to move it out of the craft room so I could fit the camera in and not block the sunshine. So I have some Spirit Guardian going in because that's popular. These are all on both merino sock and sturdy sock. So merino sock is 85-15, 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon, and sturdy sock is 75% Blueface Leicester superwash and 25% nylon. I've got a colourway that I wanted to call Dandelion, and then the green that I used turned blue, so I don't know whether to leave that and have it as seconds for shows while I work on it again, or put it in the shop as like a one-off. We'll see. I'll see what I think. I've got Craven Edge because that was requested. I can't see the rest of the yarn. I've got a colourway, Prestidigitation is going in because I love that colour. I've got Aura Vitality as well because that went last update, and that is the neon-y one. And then I also have Gilmore's Glorious Goods, which was one of my Knitical Roll colourways. It's a beautiful purple with goldeny mustard speckles and deep navy blue speckles. They're really nice, but they're all drying, so I can't really show you them, and that's kind of annoying. I also dyed up the yarn for one of my next cast-ons. I am going to be knitting Meg of Bad Wolf Girl Studios and Bad Wolf Girl Sits and Knits podcast. She is designing Hogwarts house jumpers, so I've dyed up some DK to make myself a Hufflepuff jumper. I've gone for like a charcoaly grey with mustard contrast. I'm very excited to cast that on. But I also have stitch markers. So I've realised it ages ago, but I didn't think that I would have the mental capacity to be able to do it. But I'm much more resilient than I thought I was. So I usually just do 3 of each type of stitch marker to go into the shop update. That doesn't sound like much, but I tend to do fewer stitch markers so I get more variety. This time I've done more stitch markers, which hasn't meant fewer variety, it just means I'm bead weaving more. So I've got 5 of each one this time, which once again doesn't sound like much, but it keeps it zesty. If I keep like mixing up which stitch marker I make, it keeps it interesting, you know. But to start with, while we're talking about Hufflepuff, it was requested, I had the pattern, it seemed rude not to oblige. We have a badger, and I 100p need to make myself one of these. So each stitch marker comes on a finding like this, which means they're perfect for both crochet and also for knitting. I love using them for end of round markers as well as just like, this is where you need to do something different markers. And progress keepers, like you've already seen. They are made using a technique called bead weaving, which means, whoop, each little block that you see is a tiny glass bead that I sew together one by one to make up the beautiful patterns. So yes, they are really dinky. They are very durable as well because I use beading thread, which is quite strong. It is strong. And yes, while they're glass beads, they are very durable. They're very lightweight as well, which means they're perfect for a variety of yarn weights. I used this on my wedding shawl, which I knit entirely out of mohair lace weight, and this didn't drag it down at all, and I used a pretty large stitch marker. I used a butterfly one, and they're quite a big one, so just saying. Right, we'll stick to the woodland creatures while we're going. We've got some bunny rabbits going in, lucky white rabbits. Are white rabbits lucky, or any rabbits? It's a rabbit's foot, isn't it? Anyway, Easter, it's coming. Tiny white rabbits, they're cute. They're so small. My nail for gauge. I hate it. I really hate not having painted nails. The ever popular hedgehogs are going in as well. They're so cute. So cute. I can't believe I don't own a hedgehog one yet. And then we have a tiny owl. I do have a pattern, 2 patterns actually for larger owls. I just can't get over how cute and small these are. Whoop, come on, focus. Yeah, so cute and small, absolutely adorable. We have lots of animals in this update. We've got a bumblebee. I haven't made a bumblebee in quite a long time, so he's also dinky and quite cute. That was me making that noise, obviously. I like how I had to explain that like you thought it was anything else. We've got some rainbow sheep going in because you loved a rainbow sheep, and so do I. Super cute. It's how we all get the colourful wool. We indie dyers pretend we make it ourselves. We don't. We source the very best rainbow sheep. I've got some white sheep going in with little black faces and feet, because I realised I hadn't made any like normal coloured sheep in a really long time. I have some black sheep going in with grey faces and feet. Super cute. Very sweet. Then final animal. Still, it's a lot of animals. I've got some more flower crown sloths going in because you love them and they sold out very quickly. Some of you I know had it in your baskets and it was gone by the time you checked out, and I'm very sorry. I really am, genuinely. We've got some more UFOs, little aliens going in. And this is probably the last time I'm going to have the nondescript blue box in for police box in for a couple of weeks, because this will be 3rd week in a row. And I like to mix up the ones that I make, just so I don't get bored of making them, you don't get bored of seeing them. It makes sense. And then I've got some avocados going in. The avocados are super cute. They've got metallic green skin, I suppose, which so cute. And then I've still got in the shop right now one solitary hard-boiled egg that nobody wants. So if you don't want it, I will keep it because I love that hard-boiled egg. Also in the shop at the moment, went on sale last Saturday, the 1st. The Stitch Marker Club has unfortunately sold out, so sorry if you've missed out on that. Please sign up to newsletters for updates. And the Knitter Carole Yarn Club theme for this month is Tusk Love, which is the slightly saucy romance novel bought by Jester, I believe, in the Chastity's Nook. I thought it was appropriate for February. As you can see by nothing else, I have not gone heavy on Valentine's Day, but that one I thought I would, apparently. So sign-ups to that will probably stay open until Tuesday the 11th, because then I need to dye up all of the yarn on that day. So if that seems like something that you'd be interested in, please head on over to my shop and treat yourself. All of bases are available still, I'm pretty sure. So yeah. I bought some yarn, I forgot. I bought 2 balls of charcoaly grey mohair to put with, I've got like a neon gradient cake. It's upstairs, which is why I can't show you it. From Sable Yarns. Sable? Something? Sable Yarns? I learnt that Sable stood for Stash Acquisition Beyond Life Expectancy, and I didn't know that's what it stood for. I thought sable was like, you know, French. Sable means sand, I'm pretty sure. And I thought it was like something like that. It's not. Now I know. Yeah, to tone it down a bit, I've got this to put with it because I keep wearing my like granny triangle shawl so much just around the house, and therefore think that could be a granny triangle shawl, and put this with it as extra fluff. I don't know what colour the way this is. I think I've got like mohair down my throat because I can feel it. But yes, life stuff. What's been happening? I mean, like a fair amount, but also not that much. So we went to a gig on, it must be Saturday the 25th. Spontaneously went to a gig to see Twin Temples, Twin Temple? Singular, pretty sure. Who were not a genre of music that I would normally listen to. They describe themselves as satanic doo-wop. But it was a very entertaining gig. Even if some of it was a little bit creepy. But at the same time, that's okay. You just watch it and enjoy the show. But they were really good. I really enjoyed seeing that gig. And bought myself a t-shirt, because why not? And then, what was last Saturday? Oh, the bakery that Mario works at. I met up with one of my friends Thursday last week, so that was a lot of fun. And we chatted about business, and then we went completely off-piste and talked about life. And then I've driven a bit more. Turns out I'm much more comfortable at driving now a while has passed since my driving test. So that's good. Oh god, there's not much tea left in here. As Mario says, I think I've probably forgotten how to drive the other car, or how the car I learnt in differs from our car, so it's less of a stress. That's a good point. And then, yeah, so the bakery that Mario works in has opened up a new, bigger place, which is right next door to it on Derby Road. And so there was a bit of a party there on Saturday to celebrate the new opening. That was a lot of fun. A lot of Prosecco was drunk. So that's always good. And then, what's this week has happened? What has happened this week? Really good English. Not a whole lot. Mario had to stay late yesterday because they had a staff meeting. So I met him in town and then we went out for some food. He bought me a bunch of flowers. I think because he's going down to London on the evening of Valentine's Day, because he's going to a gig the next day with some of his friends. So my first Valentine's Day as a married woman is spent alone. And I was kind of perturbed by that. Is that the word I want? Annoyed by that. Because we've never really made a big deal about Valentine's Day, so he didn't think it would be that big of an issue. And I guess it's not that big of an issue. It's just annoying, I think. I don't know. I haven't decided. But I'm thinking I might live stream instead. So I'm not alone. And just have some wine and chill out and live stream and chat to all of you lovely lot if you'd like to join me on the evening of Valentine's Day. It might not be in the evening for you because time zones. And just exist with a bottle of wine. So that might be a thing that I'm doing. Watch this space. I am currently doing a giveaway with the Silver Spot on Instagram, who is Emma, a lovely lady. She makes absolutely stunning, gorgeous pottery mugs, and they've been on my to buy list for a very long time. But weddings eat up budgets, as you can very well imagine. So I've not been able to, but I'm doing a giveaway with her at the moment. You can win one of her absolutely stunning mugs. It's like galaxy inspired. It's so cool. And I am going to be knitting or crocheting, making a mug cozy to go with it out of some yarn that I dyed especially to match it. So if you would like to enter, I will pop a link to her Instagram in the description box below, so you can go and enter to that, because it's pretty cool. And because of that giveaway, she has helped me reach the, I thought, unreachable goal of 10k on Instagram. I'm so grateful. So grateful. So once her giveaway is ended, and that's going until February the 14th, while it's happening, I don't want to do a giveaway while she's also doing a giveaway, so I want to wait till hers has passed before I announce mine. But before then, I need to have a think about what I want to do, because I'd like to collaborate with another Instagram to help boost them up as well. You know, pass on the goodwill and all that jazz. But yes, thank you all so much for following me on Instagram and doing your bit, sharing my profile, some of you have said, so thank you so much. I now have the swipe up feature. It's everything I wanted and more. Thank you. Nothing else has changed on Instagram. For those of you who are wondering what the big deal about 10k is, literally the only thing is the swipe up. That's it. That's honestly it. Nothing else. My tea is cold. It's still tasty, but it is cold. So this afternoon, I'm thinking I might try and bead some unicorns. Failing that, what time is it? Just gone 12. Maybe Thursday lunchtime might be quite a good time actually. I might go for a drive by myself, because Mary's got pizza night tomorrow and he's asked if I can go pick him up, and it's in the centre of town. I'm a bit scared of driving by myself in the centre of town. Especially on a Friday night. Although he is finishing at 7:30, so it's not as bad. But he's finishing at 7:30, but it's also light night, so... Oh, it's a tough one. I wish I had like a friendly neighbour and be like, hey, can you come in the car with me? Because I'm a bit stressed out about driving by myself. So maybe I'll go for a drive by myself now, before I edit this. We'll see. But yes, thank you so much for watching. I finished my tea. If you would like to follow me on social media, please feel free. Links can all be found in the description box below, as well as any other information that I think you might need, like the podcast group, where you will find links to various patterns that I've talked about, mentioned, discussed, and yarns that I've used, etc. I was going to say something else. If you enjoyed the podcast, please feel free to subscribe. I mean, I won't be overly offended if you don't. Subscribing just means that my video will pop up in your subscription feed when I post, and a little bell icon comes up once you hit subscribe. And if you hit the bell icon, tap, click, whatever, you will get a notification through on your device to say that I have posted, and when I go live, you'll get a notification through there to say that I've gone live, so that's pretty cool. If you want to join me for my super romantic Valentine's Day live stream, and please feel free to thumbs up the video as well. It costs you nothing but helps to get my video out into the YouTube sphere a bit more. Or if you hated it, please feel free to thumbs down. Both are fine, they all count as engagement, so thank you. And also, if you've watched this far and you hate it too enough to thumbs down, then thank you for the ad money. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you very soon in my next podcast. Bye.